I felt a bit, even though I always mention how, I can't really care about these characters that much because, we don't really know them that well.
Yeah.
I felt sad that, this world is without Superman would have held more weight if we really didn't know he was coming back.
Yeah, the gravel at the end was such a bad thing. Even though I think people would expect him to come back regardless, I don't think dropping Superman out from a DC universe this early would make sense to anyone.
Yeah.
But maybe they could have waited another Justice League movie.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have. Superman was kind of not needed in this movie.
Yeah.
They just made him needed it at the end.
I think they wanted to include him because it would have looked weird without him. But at the same time, I do kind of question whether his involvement was necessary in this movie at all. So do you want to get into specific scenes and then we can talk about
let's
character
talk about
problems?
I want to talk about the flashback battle.
Okay, go for it.
So you have the Atlanteans,
Yes.
the Amazonians fighting Steppenwolf, and he's like, I'm a big bad guy, and they're fighting him. Then a Green Lantern comes down. I'm like, a Green Lantern? But it wasn't
the Green Lantern.
It was a Green Lantern.
It
was
was
awesome.
It was cool though, just to see that they are moving forward
They had,
with stuff like
the Greek
this.
gods, Artemis, and I'm pretty sure Hercules. That's cool because those are big DC comic book names. It'd be interesting to see.
Hercules.
I'm pretty sure it was Hercules.
Yeah, it's either Hercules. I remember Jake mentioned to me that he thought it was Zeus, and then
I think because Hercules is it's both in Marvel and DC.
Right.
He has his own books, by the way.
and another point that was made was that they thought it was the original Shazam, which would have been pretty cool.
But I don't think it is because
Yeah. Either way, I'm sure we'll get some sort of confirmation in the coming months. But yeah,
I like the Green Lantern was cool.
I did really like. Yeah,
his ring flew off.
but he was probably in just an unnamed whatever
But
Green
it was
Lantern.
cool to see the Green Lantern suit and the Green Lantern powers.
Yeah.
Like, because the last time we've seen that was in 2011 with.
Was that 2011?
Yeah, it was 2011.
Wow,
With
that's a big movie big year for superhero movies because that was with Captain America, Thor. Yeah.
Yeah, that movie wasn't good.
Yeah.
That was bad. And it's interesting to see the Green Lanterns up on screen again, even if it is in a very small cameo role.
Yeah. So hopefully they do course correct with Green Lantern because
They also mentioned we need more seats at the end. Remember? There's
Yeah.
always room for more. So yeah, both Green Lanterns are going to be there. The Green Lantern Corps movie will have both major Green Lanterns. Right?
Yeah, with Hal Jordan,
and,
John Stewart. Yeah, and I think they mentioned either having Guy Gardner or Kyle Rayner.
All of them? That's a lot.
Because it's supposed to be a Green Lantern Corps movie with
but
all of. I don't know. Maybe they just don't play as big of a role. Moving on with other scenes. The whole Superman revival scene. I want to get into this because
which part? The digging up
just
the corpse, or
the entire the entirety of it. This was weird.
It was weird.
This was weird, guys. So we start off with Ben Affleck's Batman mentioning how we need to bring Superman back, and he feels he can because they have a mother box, and he has no basis to put this off of.
Besides the Lex Luthor knows.
Yeah,
that's like the MacGuffin there.
He basically says if this box is all powerful, it can bring back this Kryptonian guy, and so they're like, "All right, sure." I guess that works.
Yes, I have the power to see that.
I'll get into my beef with Cyborg in a bit.
We haven't talked about either Cyborg or the Flash yet.
Yeah, but so they have to dig up Superman's body. Not necessary to show.
Yeah.
They could have just brought his body in and we just assumed they dug him up.
Like had him in a Wayne Manor box.
Instead, we have a scene with Cyborg and the Flash, not in costume. Well, Cyborg's wearing his sweatpants and hoodie, to cover up his
deformity.
Yeah, exactly. And Ezra Miller just in
Ezra Miller clothes.
Yeah, just street clothes as Barry Allen. And so they're both digging up a grave, and this is supposed to be a bonding moment.
And they're like, be loud about it. They're talking.
But I'm so taken out of the scene because
they're digging up
Superman. They're digging up Clark Kent's body. Are we just gonna ignore what they're doing?
Digging up a guy.
I get that they have to in order to revive him.
I do think that was a Joss Whedon scene.
Yeah,
anything because funny comedy.
And it was
they're bonding over. They're like, oh, we're the accidents.
Yeah, what they were going for was that Cyborg and Flash, while they don't seem very similar, their common ground is they were created by accident.
Flash being hit by lightning,
right.
Cyborg in a car accident.
Plus the mother box. And so that could have been a cool moment if they weren't
flashback scenes, maybe.
Yeah, if they weren't digging up a body.
Yeah, I think they could have been digging up the body, but instead of showing them dig up the body the whole time, flashback to Barry Allen getting struck by lightning, flashback to the car accident.
Yeah,
because that's something to look at besides digging up.
It was just It was just weird.
Yeah, it was just weird.
Yeah, it was just a weird placement of having them just digging up Clark. Like, it was weird. Moving on from that,
and the funny joke wasn't funny.
What was it?
Like, fist bump, man. Oh, is that racially insensitive?
Oh, jeez. I didn't even remember that, but...
Yeah, no, because it's Cyborg.
Yeah. So, after that, they bring Clark Kent to...
The thing is, how are they doing all this? Like, I know, like, Bruce Wayne's... Oh, he's rich. That's
the excuse for everything, that he's rich and he can just buy his way out of it. Yeah. So, they bring...
That's how they retcon all the weird scene stuff.
So, they bring Clark Kent to the site of where they created Doomsday.
Yeah, Zod's ship.
And they put Clark Kent in the weird water.
In the goo.
And it's not working.
Because
they don't know what the recipe is, I guess.
No, they said Lex Luthor short-circuited the system.
Okay.
With making Doomsday.
Sure.
Which, it's just mumbo-jumbo.
And so Cyborg says, we have to drop this mother box, and Flash, you have to run at it and get charged lightning enough and touch the mother box as it touches the water, and that'll bring Superman back.
Just artificial tension.
And it was just such an absurd plan, an absurd scene where it's like, oh man.
You know what's going to happen,
like,
too.
Well, obviously you know what's going to happen, but I'm talking about, like, remember the end of Winter Soldier when it's counting down, like, 3, 2, 1, and he has to put the chip in?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, like, you know he's going to, because, you know, they always do. But at the same time, you have something
properly.
It's a realistic scene to be built up to.
Because all of a sudden,
this was so absurd that they were putting this box in the water and he has to touch it.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of that scene. I wasn't a fan of Superman's revival at all.
No.
And when they bring him back,
they could have done it cooler.
When they bring him back, he comes back to life, and of course he has the whole zombie mentality because he doesn't remember anything. And eventually they fight him off, and
well, Cyborg sees him as an enemy by accident.
Yeah, so Cyborg accidentally shoots him because his software is telling him that's an enemy, I have to shoot him, but his brain, whatever's left of it, is telling him, no, we know that guy's good, but he shoots him anyway.
They fight a little.
They fight.
Superman recognizes Batman. He goes, will you bleed?
Yeah, and a little reference back to Batman v Superman.
And then who comes out? The contingency plan.
Yeah, and
Lois.
And so he flies off with her, and I kept making...
Which would have been cool if he, instead of being in the rest of the movie,
right?
You resurrect him, sure. No Lois, have him look at them all, fight them a bit, and then go off to the Fortress of Solitude. That would have been sick.
That would have been so much better. And I feel like that might have been the original plan, because we see in the trailer where Alfred is talking to probably Superman. He goes, we knew you would come, now let's hope you're not too late.
Yeah.
So that would have been cool if
he shouldn't have even been in the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
He's now back.
He shows up at the Batcave.
And that's it.
Shows up at the Batcave.
At the end of the movie.
Doesn't know where they are, and then Alfred he sends them off. And then that's a better inclusion of having him just at the farm reconnecting.
Well, no, I mean, don't even have him in the final fight.
Just have him show up.
Have him show up, fly off, and then maybe, show him...
When they're discussing the Hall of Justice.
Yeah, show up, and Alfred's talking to him, oh, you're too late, let's hope you're not too late. But, it would have been cool, to see him, in a scene, just, entering the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Did they put that in the movies yet? Is the
Fortress of Solitude?
Is that there yet?
It's sort of... It's not... complete, if that makes any sense.
It would have been cool.
It's in Man of Steel.
Well, the ship, right? Is the
ship
it's
not the real
Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah,
it would have been cool, to see maybe he just had a natural feeling to go there.
Yeah,
because
that would have been cool.
Helps the character, which they have trouble doing in this.
I kept making the joke that when they were fighting off Superman, it felt like Ben Affleck was like, "Hey, we got this team together. You want to join us?" And Superman was just like, "No," and he just flies off. Another scene within the fight is Barry's running around him as the Flash.
Cool. I like that a lot.
And Superman, because he's basically equally as fast, of course people will be like, no, the Flash is faster. I get that the Flash is faster, but the fact that they're even competitive in speed makes the Flash useless, kind of. And so Superman's turning his head as the Flash is running around him.
His eyes moving. It was pretty cool.
And so
it was pretty funny. I don't know.
I just don't. I don't know.
I thought it was cool. Ezra Miller did okay.
Do we want to get into? Well, I want to finish up scenes and then we'll get into specific characters.
Yeah.
Just thinking off the top of my head, any other scenes that jump out to you as
the final battle?
The final battle was interesting.
Oh no! Wait, the Russian family first.
So okay, within the final battle, Steppenwolf sets up base on this Russian
nuclear power plant.
Yeah. And that's where he's going to unleash Apocalypse, which is turning the Earth into his home world. And so there's like a Russian family, and they're meant to be like, oh, like you're supposed to feel bad for them. And I'm expecting the whole movie that, you know, Steppenwolf is going to kill them, which is going to like fire up the Justice League or something. Somewhat similar to what they did with Agent Coulson in Avengers. Yeah. You know, it doesn't have to be exact, but the same thing of just a non-superpowered being or family dying, helping unify the team. But
they were already unified at that point.
But like, were they?
Yeah.
Like they're together, I get it, but
I mean, the Flash was
they don't have something to fight for. Like they're being told that there's something to fight for. But
that's the problem with the characters.
Yeah.
Like in the Avengers, they didn't really like each other to begin with. They're like, no, I don't want to work with you.
Which makes sense, despite the fact that they know what the threat is. It's only until after they see the casualties that can come.
I said this to you about the Russian family.
I really like Mike's idea here. Just go for it.
They talk about how the parademons, once they kill someone, that person then becomes a parademon,
yeah,
kind of like zombies.
They show it in the Amazonian Atlantean battle,
which they don't do anything with in the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
So what they should have had done is a parademon gets into that Russian family's house and turns the dad into a parademon.
Yeah.
That's conflict for that family, because that family is completely useless throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
It's only to make you feel bad, which I don't feel bad because I don't know them.
Exactly.
It would have been interesting to have, like...
They weren't even given names.
No.
Like...
Just like
maybe they were, but I feel like in the credits, I mean, they would just be credited as Russian family, Russian dad, Russian mom, Russian kids.
To have him turn into a parademon, that would be interesting, because one, that could have the Justice League talk to the family, like, it's bad.
Yeah.
Conflict and just like more interesting things.
Yeah.
But who knew? Maybe that was something in the movie. It was cut because the movie's wicked short.
Yeah, or maybe they felt that's the problem. Maybe they felt that it was too dark and they cut it, but. That's where I feel like DC's going wrong, because it's not that you have to make everything light. It's that you have to use your darkness appropriately.
Yeah, the darkness was more like just like the overall tone, not like scenes.
I don't think this movie wasn't really that dark, to be honest.
No, Batman vs Superman.
Okay,
the tone was dark. This movie was it was like bland.
Yeah,
it was like
true.
rice. It was bland.
Yeah. The final battle I thought was interesting.
It was like a video game cutscene.
Yeah, if we want to I feel like we should get into specific characters now, and if we're going to transition from the final battle, I don't think there's anyone better to start with than Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf...
Big hammerhead guy.
I'm going to say right now, Steppenwolf is the worst villain I've seen in a comic book movie.
I disagree.
Ever.
Ronan
the Accuser? Really?
Yeah.
I thought he was at least set up better because you saw him talking to Thanos, so you saw who his superior was. You're supposed to understand that Steppenwolf's superior is Darkseid.
Maybe that's because I knew that, but I don't know. I think Ronan was just kind of boring. At least Steppenwolf did do stuff. He did stuff. Ronan did nothing. Alright, I don't want to compare Guardians and Justice League. They're two completely different movies, but... Oh no, actually, you know what? Ares. I don't think...
Ares?
Yeah, he was way worse.
I can't contest that because I haven't seen him in full force.
Ares was just like a big CGI guy without the talk.
My problem with Steppenwolf is the entire time in the movie you're given this information that the MacGuffin are the mother boxes. Mm-hmm. There's 3 of them, one held by the humans, one held by the Amazons, one held by the Atlanteans.
One held by the humans, they dug it in the hole because they don't trust humans.
Yeah. But like their land is what holds it. Yeah. Anyways, so throughout the movie there's 3 separate times when Steppenwolf is retrieving a mother box. And
it's the same scene every time.
Every time he lands, talks to himself, about how he needs the mother box. He has no one to talk to, really, and he just mentions it. Also credit the fact that his face looks like a video game cutscene. Then
it's not bad CGI,
the entire time, he doesn't really fight anyone. He just takes the mother box and then goes up into his boom tube and gets like sucked away.